Today we're going to drive the all-new BMW 4 Series Coupé. First, a small tour on exterior and interior here on the inside, warm and cozy, with the 430i and comparing it to the M440i xDrive. And then later on we are going to drive the M performance model, the 440i. So join us here. Exterior, interior, and today the driving experience in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. In the front, the new BMW 4 Series features this huge front grille that also has the, we can say, really vintage styling, because formerly BMW double kidneys were more vertical, then they became more horizontal, and now they're wide horizontally and vertically. Yeah, that's the thing. And this grille has aroused so many discussions. What we can of course say, it is really unique now. Depending on the model also, it looks a little bit different. This one here being the 430i. In the US, this is, for example, the base version, and the entry-level version will also be the worldwide bestseller. And we also can compare the M440i, soon going to show you that. Then the lower bumper is already really strong in this version here. Headlamps come standard with LED. Then the daytime running light would be just like this, not that widely spanned around here. This is the optional LED with the adaptive and the laser function here with the blue accentuations. And then you can see here that the daytime running light also has this more elaborated form, so to speak. And there has been a very interesting discussion here about the placing of the number plate. First of all, in some US states, for example, or also in other countries where you do not have a front license plate, this is of course the thing then, because you will have the front grille in full glory. However, then, for example, in Germany, other European countries and so on, different US states, when you have the front number plate right there, it splits the grille, so to speak. And the interesting thing is, because this one has been, polarizing a lot, some love it, some hate it. And actually the one that dislike the grille say, okay, when the license plate splits the grille, it kind of saves the look. Yeah, I found that a very funny aspect. But what's your take here on this huge front grille and the combination with the license plate? The length is at 4.77 meters, 15 foot 6 or 188 inches. That's 13 centimeters or 5 inches longer than the predecessor. The color here with the 430i is bluestone metallic. It's kind of gray color. Also going to show a different color for today soon. Here you can see 19-inch wheels. They are optional. In the US, 18-inch would be standard. In Germany and Europe, we can also get 17-inch with the base models. But they are already looking here quite big now in the 19-inch design. The big thing here with the design overall is, of course, the Coupé two-door, then this very strong shoulder area right there. It will also be available as a convertible and also as a four-door Coupé, the Grand Coupé, so this will be the whole 4 Series family then. Said here, the wheelbase has been lengthened a little bit. If you compare it to the predecessor, that will bring more space on the interior and also a little sportier setup than the 3 Series, being a little bit lower. Then as for suspension, you get the base suspension already with these hydraulic cushions we know from BMW 3 Series. The base suspension in the 3 Series already performing very well. Then a sport suspension is available, a fixed one. This is standard for the M performance model, for the 440i for example, and optional and adaptive suspension, which will give you the best comfort and also more variety between comfort and sportiness. Really a design object. Is it also one for you? Tell us. In the rear we can see here these central and widely drawn tail lamps and also a rather simplistic design. I like that. The 430i is to me also the best as for design. It's not the most dramatic model, but for example here also just, you know, a normal ending right here, not a special wing lip or something, just a simplistic design. And also in the rear, real exhaust tip here for this 4-cylinder engine. And of course, either only rear-wheel drive or the 430i is also available optional with the all-wheel drive. So whereas the gray color with the 430i was called Bluestone Metallic, this one here is called Arctic Race Blue and has more of this blue nose indeed. And this is here also the M440i X-Drive, the M Performance model. And there the front grille here has a frame in cerium gray, whereas the other one was in chrome. And also here the lower air intake looks a little bit more dramatic, so a sportier styling all the way in the front for the M Performance model. And in the side profile we can also see 19-inch wheels here. They're even an option for the M440i. Would come with 18-inch standard. M Performance badge right here, and there's an optional carbon fiber cover here for the side mirrors. Here we also have the black frames around the window. The base model would start with the chrome, so you really can pick if you want a more elegant styling or then here a more menacing styling. Which one is rather for you? Tell us in the comments. And now the rear of the M440i, and this is what I say is definitely more spectacular. First of all, with the additional wing lip here in the top part, and in the lower part we have this diffuser style, and also Autogefuehl fake exhaust police is right here because they are fake exhaust tip on the outside, the real exhaust on the inside. Again, it looks more spectacular here for the M Performance model. But for me personally, for example, I found the more simplistic, more simple design of the 430i in the rear with the real exhaust tips, small ones, and also, you know, without the additional wing lip, more beautiful. But maybe it's just me. Tell us, which one do you find more beautiful? The more, you know, dramatic design here with the 440i or the more simplistic one with the 430i? As for engines, in Europe you get the 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel and the 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel as well. But here then the petrol engines, either 420i, the 2-liter 4-cylinder, then with 184 horsepower, or this one here, the 430i, then with 258 horsepower, rear-wheel drive or optional all-wheel drive. And here now the 3-liter 6-cylinder turbo petrol engine for the M Performance model M440i X-Drive. And this one then here, 374 horsepower, around 4 seconds is the acceleration figure. The 0 to 60 miles an hour figure is exactly 4.3 seconds, for example. And if you want it even stronger, then you would go for the true M model. This one then either with 480 horsepower or 510 horsepower in the competition model. And because I know you like to see and hear more details, let me tell you that the M440i in the US has 382 horsepower, so a little bit more. Why is that? Because there's no particle filter, whereas the EU versions have the so-called OPF, the particle filter for the petrol engine. And also interesting, the model here has X-Drive, the all-wheel drive, not from the start, but later on there will also be a pure rear-wheel driven version available for the M440i, so a 3-liter 6-cylinder then rear-wheel drive only for all enthusiasts. And this will also be available worldwide, whereas with the 3 Series, the X-Drive model is basically the one for the European Union, and the rear-wheel drive model for 40i is available also in the US. Here then with the 4 Series, the rear-wheel driven 6-cylinder 4 Series will be available everywhere. Not now, but later. Now to the interior. First of all, door closing sound, which sounds quite solid here for a frameless door. This is always tricky to do, definitely. Of course, typical Coupé style. Then there's an option here to have the SensorTech covering here, so leatherette, animal-free covering, but really high class and soft touch. So the base 4 Series would not come with that. Same with 3 Series. And this is an option, and here In the 4 Series, you also have it at the inside of the doors, whereas in the 3 Series, it's not at the inside of the doors, just on the dashboard. And here also the Hofmeister King design element also for the door handles, former exterior design element. We know it also from the 3 Series. Then these are the standard sport seats. The seat form here is standard for the 4 Series, and it comes in Sensatec leatherette in black or beige. This one here, however, the optional animal skin surface, which is not really necessary. In the Sensatec has already a great comfort and also a more sustainable production method, of course. And the new thing is that the Sensatec in black and beige is also available for the European and for the German market, for example. In the US, it would be standard. And in the European markets, especially also in Germany, you can even start with fabric seats. They have the advantage they are a little bit more breathable, especially in summertime. And then there's also special also for the European markets, where we can also get on the inside some Alcantara and on the outside a Sensatec. That would probably be my favorite seat. This one, however, not available in the US. Seating comfort here so far is good. You feel, not too different from the 3 Series, but a little bit here with this flatter A-pillar, definitely. It is definitely a sporty seating position, but so far I also feel quite comfortable. We see later on how it plays out with driving, and of course when we test this car for a longer time. Premium details would be, for example, here this small cubby hole, which, for your cold, right? So, see here, soft dampening also when it falls down. I really like these details. There are electric controls right here for the seat. You can also lengthen the front part here manually, and then steering wheel control also manual up and down, but a really easy and smooth process, so you can do it with one hand. One interesting option for winter times is also the heated steering wheel, which has the button right here. Other than that, left side here to control the cruise control. Here also with the hard plastic control. In the predecessor model, it was like a soft rubber, which wasn't that good to feel. On the right side then to increase or decrease the volume. And then base 4 Series would start with smaller instruments and so on, or even with an analog one. This is here the Live Cockpit Professional, BMW Live Cockpit Professional, with the big screens, and soon more deals about the setup there. And let me already tell you something about driving in advance, because it is really a striking difference. 3 Series, 4 Series. Here they worked on the steering setup. First of all, the ECU, so the electronic thing, that it has more feel to it, because in the 3 Series has been improved meanwhile a little bit, but there was the initial problem that like the minus plus 5 degree angle was a little bit without feeling, which shouldn't be the case. The 3 Series is supposed to be the benchmark as for steering, I think, for the brand. But here with the 4 Series, first of all, electronic, improvement of the steering feel. And then also the front axle here is stiffer, and also more stiffening mechanism, and more like direct contact to the road. So this is supposed to have a difference than 3 Series, 4 Series, that you have a more natural steering process or more natural steering feeling here with the 4 Series. And I can already tell you that worked very well. Good job here by the engineers, and we can only hope that the 3 Series then again profits from this development. Interior overview, where 3 Series and 4 Series are more or less the same. Here the Sensatec dashboard signalized by these stitching right here and the soft touch. The base dashboard, I showed that to you in our initial studio episode. If you're interested in that, it also is just fine. This one just feels more premium. Definitely nice option. Screen setups would be as follow. A base 4 Series would come with analog instruments and 5.1 inch screen on the left and an 8.8 inch small screen on the right. This year, being the BMW Live Cockpit Professional, 12.3 inch on the left side, 10.25 inch on the right side, and a nice integration right here. And also the lower part here resonates the upper part a little bit. Here still with the manual climate unit, you can easily control it also while driving. I like that. And what we also have in this very vehicle here, of course you can get different decor elements, but here we have a matte wood styling right here, and also in the lower area. And this is really awesome. I just love it. It feels, natural, looks great. It doesn't leave fingerprints. A good, alternative to black piano lacquer all over the place, which we see in so many interiors nowadays. Shifting lever right here, engine start stop button, sport, comfort, eco, pro, the driving modes, for example. And then the screens are not only touch, so the right screen is not only touch, but here you can also use this turning and pressing knob, and also can write something on there when you want to type in an address or something. So it's also a nice redundant solution, and also voice input is also possible. I soon show that to you. And here, this, armrest. By the way, if you're interested, there was one of you asking recently, if you have the SensorTech seats, then this will also be animal-free SensorTech. If you have the animal skin seats, this will also be animal skin. So it's really according to the seat setup. The same counts for the inside of the door materials. Then here inside, USB-C charger then, and actually reasonable space. And what we forgot is here what's underneath here. So the adaptive cup holders, then USB-A charging in the front, and also inductive charging if you ordered that. And this is, of course, in this case here really useful because Apple CarPlay Android Auto is wireless. Android Auto available when you have the big GPS in the Live Cockpit Professional. You have a nice ambient lighting, by the way, where you can also vary the colors. And of course, I would always go for, yay, Thomas Blue. Also other colors are available. And yeah, definitely nice one. And always put brightness to maximum, yay. Rest of the main infotainment unit here. This is the main menu. You can also control it via touch, so both is possible, or via the lower knob. And the GPS looks like this. If it's flickering on camera, that's just on camera, not in real life. Really responsive, really fast, and a good overview. So to me, the BMW GPS are the best car internal GPS systems at the moment. Of course, we always have to say that nowadays, next to the Polestar 2 with the native Android automotive integration. That's of course now leading everything. Then you can also mobile devices here. See here my iPhone, and then you can also connect to the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Overall, a quite good overview for this whole menu structure here in this BMW OS 7. So really easy to get along with. Very happy with that. And with the voice input, you can do a lot. Most of the time I use it for GPS input. Hey BMW, drive me to Berlin.
I found several destinations.
Yeah, let's go to the BMW AG Niederlassung Berlin. Yay! German lesson for today. And the wireless CarPlay looks like this. A good integration all over the screen. And the optional Harman Kardon sound system we have in here has a very, very rich sound. Can only recommend it. It is expensive, yes, but for music lovers, really cool. Now to the rear seating. This is very interesting because you might remember the wheelbase has been increased a little bit if you compare to the predecessor. Put it forward here, then it's also electrically driving forward when you have the electric seats, of course. And so there's a fairly easy entry. It looks like a hole, looks cozy, but is it also comfortable, and will I fit in there as a tall adult? Of course, a 3 Series or a 4 Series Grand Coupé then later on will have an easier access, but this, somewhat works. And well, headroom-wise, it does get close. I could sit here when I have my spine more relaxed or more like caveman style, or today you would rather say like computer style. But when I put my spine up, then it does hit the head here with one with a 6 or 6'1". Legroom wise, here when I put the seat backward, it ultimately goes back right here, and to the point how I would have it as a tall driver, and this exactly fits. So I can sit here as a tall adult. So as long as you're not too tall, 4 tall adults does work here. You see, it's also just a registration for 2 seats in the rear, so there's no seating on the middle part. However, you do have adaptive cup holders here in the rear. You also have this ski hatch if you just want to load things through. And then there's also another unit here for the rear seating for the climate control, and also 2 more USB-C chargers. And this is the car key here of the M440i, here with the colors at the sides. And let's just check out the differences right here. This is another color styling. This is of course not really connected to the M440i. But here, the M entry badge, for example, this is then connected, and also the badge here at the steering wheel. The seats would normally also come as the normal sport seats. And here then for the European market, you would have the Alcantara on the inside and Sensatec leatherette on the outside. However, this here is also a different seat form, but an option. This, the M Performance seat, is an option, but this one only available with animal materials. Then let's get inside, and seat form wise, this is a little bit tighter as for the seating. Which one offers more comfort? Can't say here right now, but you can easily just stick with the base seats. They will be less expensive, less animals, skin use, and so on. So, and if you can go for the Alcantara seats, if they are available in your market, then of course that's way to go. Other than that, basically the same here, 430i and the 440i. And here another welcome alternative to the black piano lacquer. This mesh structure here, it's a lacquered surface as well, but looks quite fresh and also bright. Why not? This would be the sportier style then, in contrast to the matte wood. The instruments, digital one, look like this, and when we turn on the engine, then you can see on the left side speed, right side would usually be RPMs. It depends also on the driving modes. Comfort, this is here Eco Pro with less throttle input, and there's also the sport mode where you can best see that. And here we can see then when Michel revs it a little bit up, because he's in the drive seat, then rev it up, man, yeah. So the RPMs go counterclockwise to leave space on the inside then for assistance system information, or also of course GPS information when you have a destination set. And head-up display is always a welcome option, current speed, allowed speed, and also some GPS arrows if you have a destination set. Then electric hatch, 430 liters for the trunk. I mean, it's quite okay as for the access right here. Also not too shallow, because there's no additional lower floor right here. See here, when I take my arm as a measurement, and then you can unlock the seats right here and either push it through with your luggage, or optionally go around like I do right here, and then you do it like this. Here we go. And well, of course an estate or also a sedan would be more versatile, but I think you get along quite well here as well. Yeah. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge. Active driving lounge with the BMW 4 Series Coupé M440i. We have wet conditions here today. That's also one of the reasons why we did all of the other filming on the inside. So, I hope you can understand that we don't film so much outside here in these conditions. But testing these cars here in the rain is also something which reveals what the car is made of, definitely. The camera mounted here at the moment in this way, the action cam, because then you can actually see the speed. It's hard with these BMW digital gauges to mount them in a way that you have a good perspective, yet at the same time you see the speed. So at the moment here, speed mounted, so you can see that. Do it from the acceleration. And here now on the motorway, I go back to the normal comfort mode. I also put in normal traction control, so we are safe. Here in the comfort mode, the RPMs are not turned up that high. I can also use the sport mode here. This is okay as long as I don't activate the ESC. And here now when we are already at speed, let's say 80 to 120. And that's it already. That was 126. So, wow, great performance, and you feel that this is also the base for the true M3 or M4 engine. Really impressive, and this is way than enough power. Of course, in situations like these here, the all-wheel drive makes a lot of sense. That's really cool to get more traction. This car here will also be available with the inline 6-cylinder 3-liter engine with rear-wheel drive for all us enthusiasts. But wet road, the all-wheel drive definitely has the advantage. And now we switch back to a more beautiful perspective here with the action cam, that we can tell you something more of the other features, because life in the 4 Series Coupé is not always about hooning, but also about relaxing, for example. So I think it's a really good compromise here between sportiness and comfort. We also have the adaptive suspension, the optional adaptive suspension inbuilt here, which gives us really good comfort indeed, especially when we are in this normal comfort mode. It will then be stiffer if you are in the sports mode, for example. So this is really helpful. Then here at the moment the assistance systems are all in place. It has the extended assistance systems package here in this very vehicle. It's an extra. So we also have the lane keeping assist, the semi-autonomous function, supposed to keep your hand on the steering all the time. Yeah, I'm always doing things that I'm not supposed to, but just for demonstration purposes. And here, just touching it means capacitive steering wheel. So it doesn't require like shaking of the steering wheel, just touching the steering, then the car still knows, okay, I'm still here. And it's a very, non-intrusive function. So it doesn't interfere too much, but keeps you really centralized in the lane. Also then the distance to the car in front of you, really very well done. There's also the blind spot monitor available. Drop back just a second. So here we go, there it is. And when I put the turning indicator, then it really flashes. This is also a very helpful function. I mean, here in the Coupé and in the convertible of the 4 Series, there's no, B-pillar whatsoever. So it wouldn't be like the biggest issue, but the blind spot monitor is always very good to have. And it's so silent in here, although it's raining. Of course, you hear something of the raindrops, but the noise insulation is really great. The 3 Series already one of the best mid-size cars there is at the moment, as for the sophisticated feeling. And that also accounts for the 4 Series. Here the 4 Series Coupé has a little bit sportier touch if you compare it to a base 3 Series, but of course they both come somewhat close as for the driving characteristics. To me, this car here, mid-size coupés, really stand for the combination of sportiness and comfort. Therefore, even cooler if you have the adaptive suspension, or we tested recently in the 3 Series 330i, also check out that review, the normal base suspension now with these standard hydraulic cushions is really good, also gives you a good compromise of sportiness and comfort. I would just not go for the fixed sport suspension unless you really like to boop, boop, boop. It's really rough. We tested it in I think also in another 330i or 340i before. So that doesn't really make so much sense. So either base suspension or the adaptive suspension. And yeah, once again, although it's raining, I'm really feeling pretty safe here. Really good mix overall. Talking about mix or the consumption here, we have about 7 liters on 100 kilometers is the average consumption here at the moment, and this is really more like putting it in in cruise control and so on. But that's possible. It will go higher when you really floor it out, yes, but it also shows when you keep it really steady, you can also score good fuel economy with the bigger BMW engines. And this is a really peculiar finding that BMW, which stands like for this driving fun and so on, and we're lagging a little bit behind as for some other sustainability approaches besides their BMW i lineup, which is really forward thinking and already years ago. But their normal combustion engines are really quite efficient also if you compare it to the competitors. It's also really notable to know. By the way, the 4 Series also has an interesting function here as for the automatic gearbox. So when you're in a higher gear, you can use the shifting pedals, shift down yourself, like 1, 2, 3, 4 gears back. But you can also hold the left pedal, and then you come in a so-called sprint mode like this. You maybe hear it. And then the car already goes into a lower gear, presets the RPM a little bit, and this goes even faster then. So for example, this could be useful when you are in the normal comfort mode, like here now, and then you say, oh, I really want to do an overtaking process now, and I want more boost. Then you could hold the pedal, go into this sprint mode, and then immediately have a good boost for your overtaking process. So I think that's, definitely a nice thing to have. Lane change here, again, at these wet roads, I have to pay a little bit more attention, but the car is so balanced in the handling. Look at that here. Really very nice. It's just so much fun every lane change to do with that car. The steering is overall good, it's cool, and it's also pretty direct and precise. They have improved it now bit by bit from the very first time we've been driving the 3 Series. So overall, I think I'm quite happy here now, meanwhile. And when I go to the sports mode, for example, there's also a little bit more resistance in the steering wheel, which I found a little bit better. You can also individualize your driving modes. So I would maybe go to an individual mode where I leave everything in the comfort settings, but then, for example, put this steering input to a little bit more resistance and so on, that it feels less artificial also. But definitely you have a good grip on the steering wheel, also very well in control. I think with the performance parts, like the you can also get the microfiber steering wheel. That would of course be like a cool choice, an additional one. You can go over these performance parts program right there. So overall, once again, very good feeling here in the new 4 Series Coupé, and this engine here, the inline 6-cylinder, is just superb. I really love it. We can even go a little bit lower with the fuel fuel consumption, higher with the fuel economy. So, but at the same time, you've seen in the beginning, we have so much power on demand if we really want to. And I would really, even if money plays no role at all, really would go for the M440i instead of the true M4 or true M3, because this one here just gives you a better balance. Visually wise, however, I told you earlier that the 430i, the more normal engine, so to speak, is to me just a little bit more elegant because it has the more simple styling. But definitely such a comfortable ride here on the motorway, and really stepping up the performance always when you want to. And some countryside driving here, really nice. Once again, beautiful road and beautiful car. And I'm really happy with this engine, not only because of the good fuel economy when driving it calmly, but also because of the performance. And here, countryside roads is also where this car really feels at home, and you can really enjoy the drive. Even more so, of course, when we have dry conditions, but here then with the all-wheel drive we also have the advantage. The brake feeling, by the way, is really good, really precise. So you have a good feeling of how you finely tune the brakes. And once again, when you need cruise control here, for example, on the motor, not only the motorway but also on the countryside, there's no problem here. Car is kept in the same distance here. You can also set the distance left and right. So you can also switch that around if you want more of that, or if you want more performance. Once again, I'm also in the sport mode, and like this, sprint in between, like from 60 here. And that's 100, really quick, and once again also safe with the all-wheel drive here in wet conditions. You should just not turn off the ESC. There's ESC Sport and then ESC completely off. Always leave the ESC in when there's wet conditions. That's definitely safer. So I guess this car is really a good all-rounder. Of course, a little bit less of everyday driving use with the Coupé form, but if you don't drive with rear passenger that often, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Here, the next overtaking process here, where for example, I could hold the shifting pedals and go to the sprint mode, then I would do the overtaking. In this case, because there's another car, then I'm not doing it. Yeah, Michel's like, oh gosh, he doesn't do it. I'm glad. Yeah, always safety first here at Autogefuehl. I mean, we do some performance driving, but we always obey the speed limits. Still need driver's license for the next reviews. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new BMW 4 Series Coupé. Today, driving the M440i xDrive, and also the comparison earlier to the 430i petrol engine. First of all, a safety note, please do not deactivate the stability control systems on the red road. Even be more careful when you have rear-wheel driven only. We had all-wheel drive today. And also do not use the launch control on public roads, nor when it's wet. Thank you. So here for the exterior conclusion, definitely with this huge front grille, this is all about it. And of course the strong shoulders. I think the strong grille does work. I have no problems with it. It's a unique feature. When you have a market where there's no front number plate, it's of course even more prominent and even cooler here. It's basically split, but some say that they say in the markets where you have the front number plate, the car then works. If they didn't like the front grille that much. Yeah, whatever. I think overall, still a very beautiful and sensual vehicle. And this is also the advantage if you compare it to the 3 Series, this with the more sensual, sporty design. Interior, quite equal or quite the same as the comparison to the 3 Series. Just that you have a trade-off that you don't have, the easy access to the rear. In the front, digital infotainment, all top-notch, good voice input and so on. And then also nice seating surfaces with these standard SensorTech surfaces we have both in the US and also in Europe. Even better than when you have the Alcantara seat in the European market, when you can pick that. And also the seating comfort is actually quite decent, especially more on the base sports seats. High build quality on the interior, and the driving is just superb. First of all, in general, good noise insulation. You can drive this car at 200 kilometers or 125 miles an hour on the motorway. Who would do that? Me? Never, right? So you can really drive it at high speeds, and it's super, super silent. It feels like nothing speed-wise, so watch out the speed cameras. So a very sovereign, sophisticated driving experience. It's not too different from the 3 Series. Maybe like a sportier notch or something, but overall very well comparable because it's the very same platform, definitely. Also then in the cornering, a great handling experience. Both good compromise, sportiness and comfort. And also here with the M440i, first of all, the X-Drive brings a little bit more safety to get the power on the ground. For example, when the road is wet like today. Then you also have all the assistance systems. And when you pick the additional package, they work flawlessly. And of course, this inline 6-cylinder is a very, very cool engine. One of my favorite petrol engines. Overall, it brings you really great sportiness. But if you drive it in a calm way, you can also score a nice fuel economy, like 7 liters on 100 kilometers, 35 mpg US and about 40 mpg UK. Of course, this will be different, more like 10 liters plus or something on 100 kilometers when you really floor it out. But you can drive it in an economic way when you have like cruise control on the motorway set. So this engine can also do both. And when you have the optional adaptive suspension, as we had it here today, then even more variety between sportiness and comfort. So overall, I can just say, really great vehicle and so much fun to drive. I hope you enjoyed our tour here for today and also the driving part. Please leave us your comments to the all-new BMW 4 Series Coupé. And if you stay tuned here on our channel, you will also see then the convertible at a later stage, the Grand Coupé and so on, or tune into some of our BMW 3 Series reviews, or maybe the competitors when you think about a C-Class Coupé, for example. We also have it on our channels, or maybe like the Audi S5 would be the direct comparator to this one. So thank you so much for tuning in today. See you next time.